So last time, you guys had quite a bit dumped on you, both lore and combat-wise. You picked through the bodies, and in a surprise twist, when Sefel was able to break through this compulsion to devour a brain, he decided to, of his own free will, and learned a good bit of knowledge about this Plinky and the obelisk. As you guys have have gone around experimenting on it a little bit, you believe that that Plinky had believed it was part of something left behind by a Darrow god. You have identified that a few chunks are missing from it, and that the goals of Plinky and the Great Ghosts were to restore it. And you learned a little bit about Scylla, mostly what has brought them to what she would consider the surface. And it was this horrifying attack and destruction of her home by a demon prince you have properly identified as Dagon, thanks to an incredible check by Sefel. And after this realization and a little bit of conversation, you notice that a number of drow had appeared and had begun to attack you, which you guys made extremely swift work. However, Adonais was attacked with what you identified was holy water and has now returned within their obelisk, and does not seem to be glowing in any way as you had seen before when you had all rested. But probably the greatest thing that has happened in the history of this podcast, a stool has reemerged, larger, stronger, better, faster, we wonder? But he's here.
Doubtful.
All right, anyways. Stool
So
stands before you, Indigo, and has been like, I've been looking for you everywhere. Where did you go?
Wow! Stool, this is the... Oh, wait, I can't talk. I am a koala bear-like creature known as a Zorbo. I gesture lovingly and run to Stool's arms.
A stool picks you up in his now huge arms and like cradles you up close into his weird fungi beard and skull head.
Oh, good, they're together. I cast Fireball.
For initiative, everybody. I guess we're doing inter-party combat now.
Scylla just leaves.
Scylla leaves.
Indigo
Who's
shot
your new
first.
friend? Bye.
I take it that Indigo knows this creature, Sefel.
Oh, God.
Now, not having had the spores enter your mind, you can only assume by Indigo's reaction, Mythos Myconid, that this is the stool. The titular stool.
Sefel, based on your reaction, do you think he's grappling him?
No,
There's a lot of nuzzling happening.
It's a...
A mating ritual.
Very close. Very, very close. No, this is, fine, relatively. You know, comparably to everything else that we found down here. This is fine.
Understood, I will not intervene.
And Sefel will make his way,
I will return back
over-
into Indigo.
carefully, over time.
Okay.
To me.
You warp back into your Indigo shape, and as you do, an extreme hunger comes over you.
Oh, Jesus.
It feels like you haven't eaten in days.
The Indigo likes mushroom.
I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay, alright. We got this. So, how do we feel about a 9?
Are we all hungry down here?
We all eaten people down here because these drow look some tasty. And you start ripping into some flesh.
Oh.
Oh, just one moment.
I don't think Sefel has seen this before.
You have not.
I
Sue
haven't seen this
immediately
bit.
runs over and is going to try to drag Indigo off this body.
I think Scylla's right there with her.
You can certainly try.
Jesus.
I'm going to say that you can do the roll with advantage because she's like helping you, essentially,
Nice.
Scylla.
And is this a acrobatics / athletic situation?
This is strength context, so you can do athletics.
My 12 does not beat your 24. You are successful.
Scylla and Sue, you manage to pull Indigo away from this body, but within his maw, as it seems a bit distended and his teeth seem a little bit sharper, and this kind of dark reddishness has kind of come into his eyes. He has a chunk of flesh within his mouth, which you see he kind of like greedily swallows.
I think
And-
Scylla is firmly sitting on top of Indigo, like holding him down.
It takes a few moments, Indigo, but eventually you start to calm. But you do feel a little tired because you have not eaten. I need you to take a level of exhaustion.
Indigo, stop! What is happening?
Sorry, I just really hungry for a second there. Whew.
More
You're quite heavy.
spores come out of Stool, and he starts connecting with all your minds as this is happening.
Are you back to us?
100%. I am so sorry about that, guys. Sefel, my bad. Sue, sorry. Scylla, again, apologies. Stool, also, wow, everyone's names are different S but mine. Huh. Isn't that fun?
Indigo, when did you start, how long has this been your situation? I don't think I've seen this from you before.
No,
And Indigo like swallows a small piece of meat that was between his teeth.
no, this is pretty new. Remember when I got pushed into the hag's cauldron and my essence was bound to the mimic?
I remember you telling me of it, yes.
Yeah, now I have a certain proclivity towards raw meat now. My theory has something to do with the binding between our two spirits.
So listen, I don't, none of us are particularly innocent. However, I feel like this would have been, good information to disclose sooner.
Indigo just like laid out flat, like spread eagle, while like Scylla sits on like his abdomen, just like.
You know, I can now see that this was certainly my story to tell, and I did not do that. That is on me.
Well,
There are, although it sounds as though you knew this and maybe should have told us, I am not foreign to those with dietary restrictions. Perhaps we can keep raw meat with us at all times.
Yeah, I'm not against it.
Is it, do you think you like raw meat, or is it fresh that you like?
I mean, the fresher the better. I mean, that's really where all the flavor is. I'm sorry.
and is it
He gets slightly more mimic as his voice changes there.
is it any meat or is it people meat?
That's a fine question for the DM. Do I have a particular humanoid hunger?
You remember when you woke up out of your healing state back in the tavern and all the meat that you consumed there, you don't think it's necessarily tied, but something about flesh is just extremely appetizing to you. So you don't think it's particularly tied. Sefel, can you make me an Arcana check in relation to what is going on here with Indigo? And as you're doing this, like the larger now stool, like waddles up to you and is like wrapping you up in a hug with these massive arms, and he's like, "I've missed you, Sefel."
Oh God, 25. It's good. I like patting his skull.
His skull and weird mushroom beard and body.
You have grown since I last saw you.
I have, yes. There was a larger form with I could bond and grow.
You seem to have gone through puberty, particularly with your voice 3 times in the last 5 minutes alone.
Yes. I'm still getting used to it.
Will got sick of the stool voice too.
No, I just was like thinking about his form, and I'm like, he has to sound different. He can't sound like a child anymore.
What's Indigo's excuse?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right, hush now.
Sorry, Dad.
Putting all the pieces together, Sefel, it kind of hits you. What happened to Indigo, what he is now capable of doing, these weird effects that are kind of like compulsory upon him, semi-similar to yourself. You think he's been cursed.
Yeah.
Now, you know that curses are curable. It's just a matter of finding a way to do so. So this potential thing that's plaguing him could be reversed.
Indigo, I need you to listen to me very carefully. I'm going to say something very important.
Okay, yep.
We need to find the street cleric.
Oh. Are we gonna strike him down in our righteous anger against his false god?
No, Indigo, you have been, cursed. Not uncommon for the nature of where your abilities came from. It's not a personal thing, and the thing with curses is it's not your fault. This was done to you. Are the victim in this circumstance. It's not my fault, but
it is my responsibility.
Well, if any of us were to hit the floor, then yes. This is a curable circumstance. Although I don't know to what level it would be cured. If there was a way to cure the appetite without losing the other abilities, or if they go hand in hand, I am unsure. But I don't believe it's currently in our particular expertise to do so.
Well, I think it's important to remember that appetites can be cured with food, Sefel.
You are not incorrect. And there are much worse curses to have, as long as we are not on the side of the table that Indigo drools at.
Listen. It's not a curse, I'm just a part of the food chain.
Jesus.
Oh, sorry about that. Silly me. You're very heavy, Scylla. Could you...
Yes, it is my armor. I wonder, Sefel...
It's very rude to say, Indigo.
Yeah, perhaps you are correct, because I think it would be, as I watched Indigo closely here, Indigo, you did not have control.
That's true. I was just so peckish and. But wait, I mean, we're all. Can we all agree that we're all friends here?
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Through lack of other options, yes.
Okay. So, I mean, Safel, I couldn't help but notice what you did earlier. You know, you really
Yes.
taking the bull by the horns, leaning
Yep.
in. Maybe
Uh-huh.
maybe I just need to eat more meat on my terms.
Did Scylla see that?
Scylla didn't see Safel.
Yeah. So I think she kind of whips around.
Nope. And I was not.
Um,
I was nice and vague, and you don't know what I'm saying. Context clues.
There was a bull.
Oh, this is a metaphor.
Well, if we are friends and companions and trust is important in those kinds of relationships, I would rather
Very
disclose the information willingly than have Scylla find me indisposed. So
That's quite the
Scylla
term.
and Sue as well. There is an instinctual urge that I get. Hear me out. I know it sounds weird.
It sounds like puberty being
Yeah,
explained.
don't look at my tentacles. Don't look at my tentacles.
Growing hair.
Don't look at me. No. When we are in the presence of a corpse of one with magical portent, or I don't know the exact draw, but important information or magical expertise, I have the urge to feed on where that expertise is stored. And by doing so, I have been able to gain certain knowledges, and it is how I have discovered information that would otherwise not be available to us, such as the plot on Thembershoud's existence from this Plinky.
Huh. That is interesting. So, quite useful then. But this
Very.
is why you also want to see the Undercleric. To cure your curse.
I don't know if his is a particular curse. I think this is something a bit beyond that for him, at least.
There are some racial connections that were not severed when other things in my past were.
Well,
That is as much as I understand.
That is a mystery. Safel, and she kind of cocks her head. Would you cure yourself if you could?
That's an interesting question. I am not fond of the lack of control that this urge imposes upon me. I do, however, as you yourself said, find what is gained from my actions quite beneficial. I think if I would certainly cure my inability to do so on my own terms. If it was a choice that I could make, I would, and in this most recent case, have made the choice to do so, but I would like it to be a choice.
Well, then I would say you and Indigo, perhaps we work toward training your control with flesh and blood and brain.
That makes sense. So, Scylla, what's your deep secret that you've been hiding from us? Like, Safel eats brains, I eat flesh.
I mean, Sue, you're fine. Stool is a perfect angel, but Syl, what's your deep dark secret?
Oh, I'm perfectly fine. And she kind of tilts her head down at you, and her like black eyes just stare at you, unblinking.
Meanwhile, Stool's having a flashback of him slaughtering his entire grove, laughing maniacally.
I'm sorry, what? What's up? Sorry, I blacked out there for a moment.
Oh, that's right. Stool, where you been, dude? This is great. This is the best news I've had all day.
Yes, who is this creature?
He
This is
was
Stool.
a companion that was...
More spores just entering into your brain.
He was one of our friends who was killed in the fight that Sue recovered us from.
But as you can see, I'm alive. Before I died, as I had been growing, I had found I could transfer, in a way, my spores into a host of sorts. And unfortunately, for those lives lost, there was much for me to transition into, and well, for whatever, and he's like, his empty eye sockets turn up towards the ceiling and the pulsingness of the Frez. This place has accelerated my growth. This, I believe, should not have happened this quickly. From what I remember of the circle, when creating a spore servant of the circle, it would take a number of days. But this weird presence of magic has brought me back, larger and stronger than I was before.
It is a pleasure to meet you, Stool. What is your goal? Why do you find yourselves here with us?
Well, this is where I last remember seeing my friends, and I've been wandering these tunnels for a few days in the hopes of finding them. I do wish to return to my circle, though. I was hoping my friends would come with me to see it.
Yeah, I want to go to the Neverlight Grove. Absolutely.
Scylla will get off Indigo finally and help him up.
Oh, thank you. By the way, Stool, did you see any bears while you were out there?
If that's what they're called, then yes. Big furry things?
Yes.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Then yes, I have seen this bear.
Excellent. Cool.
That's interesting because one should be friendly for us on our way out still.
I like friends.
All right.
Stool, I give Stool a big humanoid hug now that I'm back up.
He squeezes you right back, like you can. It's like a bear hug.
Scylla stands next to Indigo. She's holding her trident. She's going to cut her palm to draw blood, and she wants to see what Indigo does. If anything,
Weird.
maybe nothing.
But okay. No, I'm just kidding. It's not weird. I totally get your character's justification for doing that. Indigo, you smell like very quickly the fresh scent of blood, and you feel that hunger starting to come over you again. I want you to make another wisdom saving throw at advantage.
Jesus.
Am I seeing it happen?
You can make an insight check.
23.
Okay.
I'm super not insightful. 4.
What'd you get? 4. It's fine because you can all see like Indigo's head whip back towards you. and like his nostrils flare. Yeah, exactly. Deep inhale, and it's almost like the savagery starts to come over his face, and then he manages to reel himself back together.
See? I think it's just practice.
Well, let us hope you are right. I don't want to cut this reunion short, Stool. It is oddly very good to see you. But
It is good to see you.
we should move on. There are many things that have now caught us unawares in this chamber. And I think all of us, well, I can't speak for all of us, but I certainly am starting to feel worn down. So we should decide where we go from here and start moving in that direction.
Yeah. Okay. What do you guys want to do?
Well, do we think Adenase is like gone? Like, should we? How
That's
big
up
is
to
this
you guys
bar?
and how you want to investigate it.
Can I do any sort of check? I'll pick up his stone if I even can. I don't know how
What's your
heavy it
strength
is.
score?
It's just a flat 10.
You're not going to be able to pick it up.
If I adjust density on it in half the weight, can I?
Not with your current strength, no. It is dense. It is hefty.
Okay.
You're going to need like a strength of 16 at least to carry it.
Even with its weight halved?
Yeah.
Okay. Damn.
It's probably I think I described it in the other video, but if or not video, audio, it's like 8 feet tall, and it just looks like a weird tall black spire with these different carvings along the side, which you had seen pulse with like a reddish light before when he had turned into his vampiric mist and disappeared somehow inside of it. And I think one of you had ruled the knowledge on vampires that for them to rest traditionally, they had to be either within the ground that they had been killed upon or had to have like a coffin or something to retreat into. So somehow you thought this was somehow tied to him, but he was somehow able to move it, which isn't normally the case for vampires.
If I can't pick it up, then can I inspect it to see if it is... Has it gone completely dormant? Is it...
Make an Arcana check.
Okay.
You're absolutely welcome to.
22.
Okay. You approach it, and you can tell that there's a certain sense of magic about it. Something about the weave has definitely been pulled into it. And it seems to act as a type of vessel of sorts. However, because of his undead nature and the specific purpose of this object, you're not entirely sure, if he's alive in there, what's happening. So, as of right now, you could either attempt to drag it and carry it with you in the hopes that Adenase might reappear, or you leave it, because as far as you know, if he is alive and he's recovering, you don't think necessarily that most weapons would be capable of destroying this thing.
Right. Yeah.
And you're not necessarily like well acquainted with him. He had gone mad after consuming so much Darrow blood. So who knows in what kind of state he will be when he reappears.
And we had already kind of had the conversation that we can't really take him outside of this tunnel. Like, if we were to go back to Gracklestug, the first step outside the tunnel is Darrow neighborhood.
Yeah.
Which would not go well for anybody involved.
How is he not already just, like, ripped through the West Cliff? Like...
It's a good question.
He tunneled through the top of the cave when we first met him. He might have just been like secluded in a cavern somewhere.
True.
He's a feral cat. We can save him.
I don't condone this. having rescued
you
feral
saved
cats.
a feral cat.
I have saved a feral cat. She's
Yeah.
amazing.
Mine's a monster, just like Adonais. Anyways,
Does the obelisk that he's in remind us of the big one in this room?
it seems similar, but they are not made of the same material.
Okay.
And the larger obelisk, I think it was Indigo who had rolled last time, and I think you got a 6. You couldn't tell with that the full extent of its abilities. It definitely possessed something that had the ability to do something, and it was tied into the weave and the Ferez around it. But to ascertain more, you would need to study it again.
Yeah.
Would you allow me to look into it where we have already done a check on it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Sefel will walk back up the long way so that he gets up there safely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna come with you, Sefel, and right before you get up to it, I'm gonna cast guidance on you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
So what is that, a D4?
Yes.
Okay.
Stool
So,
not
yeah.
wanting to be separated from his friends lumbers beyond you all, and I think Sue would come with you guys just because she doesn't necessarily want to be hanging out amongst the dead bodies.
And I think
Think
Sefel is
Burns.
kind of grumbling the whole way up, like, we need to ascertain what this thing is so we have as much information when we go, but we really should be figuring out where we are going. And he's like grumbling the whole time while he comes up, and he's going to lay his hand onto or probably both hands, and like, are there carvings, markings on this obelisk, like glyphs of any kind? Or is it just like smooth material?
It's just smooth except for small cracks and chipped off edges. That's
Okay.
it.
Yeah, because we had talked about destroying it.
Right. So yeah, I guess he's gonna like run his hands over the surface, and he is going to like feel those cracks and dents and chips. And can I do some sort of check to ascertain the nature?
You can
of
make
this?
another Arcana checks. This episode's full of them tonight.
Let's do it.
The arcane!
Okay. Oh, that's an 8.
Don't forget you have guidance.
Yep. So rolling the d4. Okay, and checking to make sure I still have some, which I think I do. I'm gonna burn a knowledge as well.
Okay.
All
So-
in.
Another d6. Oh, fuck me. Dirty 20.
Okay. You aren't able to ascertain any more of its origins. However, you know that if you were to expend some of your magic, kind of push your ability to cast spells, essentially, and in like non-role playing terms, if you expend a spell slot on this obelisk, that whatever magic is what's the word I'm looking for? Not I think prevailing inside of it will activate. And you feel, let me just double check, because I know what spell is currently in there now. I just want to double check the school of magic that it is. You feel that there is a latent conjuration magic within it that is tied to the Ferez within this area, and you believe that after a certain amount of time, depending on what the Ferez's own kind of will and twisting nature will do, the nature of the spell inside the obelisk will change.
Interesting.
So currently, if you cast out, it's something that will appear, I guess?
So if you expend a spell slot by it, like pushing it in to the obelisk, you will activate a spell of some sort that is within it. And you know that it is of the conjuration nature. And that if you expend this spell slot, I'm just double checking my notes here. If you expend this spell slot, you feel like whatever happens afterwards, you feel like you have a limited amount of time to expend another one to reverse whatever happens.
Sefel thinks for a long time. And it, like to everybody else, it just looks like he is in deep, almost meditative thought with his hands against this obelisk. And he wants to act, but he is going to, after a long while, take his hands away and turn to the others. We have a rare opportunity to perhaps experience what the intention of this obelisk was. Now, I would be...
Before you go any further,
Okay.
I had missed something in here.
Okay.
You can tell with this check as well, because you saying this reminded me of what I had read. This ability, whatever magic's currently within it and tied to the weave, you don't actually think it relates to the original purpose of this obelisk.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So the magic within it has changed.
You think that this obelisk has now become essentially a conduit for the Ferez all around you. And that, since it is now incomplete, it cannot be used for its original purpose. It only acts under the Ferez's kind of natural, chaotic magic powers.
Unless it was completed.
Unless it was completed. And then it could potentially be restored to its original purpose. Whatever that purpose was, you do not know what that is.
So we have a chance to see what this obelisk is capable of doing. Not its intended purpose, but a purpose that seemingly could be reversed if we do not like the outcome. But it is a interesting opportunity for some arcane study and perhaps some deeper understanding of the Ferez and what is going on with our magics and magic down here. And I would be lying if I said that my interest is not very piqued at the opportunity.
I look down the hill towards Scylla and Sue, are kind of staying towards the mouth of the cavern.
Sefel wants to do a science experiment.
I think this whole time, Scylla and Sue, they're examining the dragon egg to make sure, like they wanna check on it, make sure it's fine.
Sure.
And maybe just see if there's anything strange about it.
Okay. I imagine Sue pulls out the bag of holding and like you both take ends of the drawstrings and pull it back, and as you know what you want, it starts to get larger and larger until finally it just like falls away, and there the egg sits essentially on the ground, all 4 feet tall of it. And it is gorgeous. It's like staring into a ruby, essentially, but with this fiery glow inside of it. And as you guys are kind of moving about it, as you like shift into a different position, you can start to see a shape inside of it. And that's, I think, where like Sue gets really excited. She's like, oh, you can see it inside of there. Look at it.
This is what we had wanted, Sue. We've done it. We found it.
It's beautiful. Wow, we really have done it. But now that we know what attacked you and your people, do we really think this is capable of taking on Dagon? A Daemon Prince?
I think Scylla kind of like sits for a second thinking about that. Sue, we have to try. And I would say this is a strong potential in our favor. I do not think we will be able to take Dagon, but perhaps there is something we could do to keep Dagon from returning.
Well, I didn't mean that we wouldn't try. Of course, we're gonna try, Scylla. I know you lost a lot of friends down there, and I know we haven't talked about it too much. But of course, we're gonna try, and if we can prevent them, whatever the fuck you want to call it, from doing more or reappearing, then I'm all for it. But is it really gone, or is it still just lurking there in the lake, you think?
I do not know, but we'll take this win, and perhaps we'll find more power elsewhere.
Sure, yeah.
And
of course.
We can examine the waters later.
Yeah, no, that's yeah, we can do that. Absolutely.
Oh no, I was just she looks up at Sue. Do you know anything about raising a dragon egg?
Absolutely not. Other than supposedly the tales go, if you hatch it, that whatever it lays eyes upon first, or whomever, I should say, it will form a bond with. But considering it's a dragon, I'm sure it'll have a mind of its own, and I think, like any parent, it'll be up to us to nurture it as best we can, to be good, because we don't want another Themershoud, and or, any of the other red dragons out there which are more inclined to kill us all, or use us as slaves.
Yes. I think we should keep a daily look on this egg. I do not think it would be wise to have it hatch in the bag of holding.
No, that definitely wouldn't be good. It'd probably die pretty quickly if it was born in there. But I think we'll have to find a pretty significant heat source for it to hatch first. So we might be in luck there until we find something.
Interesting.
Ladies, I don't mean to interrupt, but if you would like to join us at the top of the hill, Indigo and I are devising some devious plans.
We are having a joint motherly discussion, and you will respect that.
That's fine. You can bring
we'll be right up there.
You can bring the egg and my bag, please.
Sue, you should speak to the elderly with respect.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
You
so
literally
sorry.
never even met me as an old man.
And the artwork apparently
Not
still have
once.
white hair
It's the
on your
bony
cephalopod
piece.
head.
Yeah. It
Oh.
just comes off in your every pore
Yeah.
of blood.
He smells of old man.
Yes.
You guys pack
It's
up
the
the
clothes,
egg
I'm sorry.
once
Smells
again,
like Metamucil.
and you guys make your way up onto the mesa where this obelisk is. All right,
Indigo
so
and
Phil,
I.
what are we doing?
Well, Indigo and I were discussing there is some dormant magic within
Of
this
course.
obelisk that we believe could be activated. However,
Mhm.
Indigo and myself have been heavily exhausted, and we think it would be beneficial if we wish to experiment to perhaps rest, regain our strength, see what this thing may be, and then perhaps move on in the morning. and it would give you both some time to plan what to do with your new egg.
I
Well,
would.
go ahead.
Thank you. I do not want this obelisk to remain standing. I believe it has power that could potentially draw forth an entity like Dagon, or something strong, at least. And if you want to draw power out of it, do you believe that that would destroy it, or simply use it for a time?
It would show us what it is capable of doing. I do not believe currently that we have the means of destroying it. I do believe that we have removed the individuals, or at least a good number of important individuals, trying to use it. It may certainly be something that we have to come back to. It may be something that we have to pass information on to powers greater than ours. I do not have the means to destroy this, and I do not believe any of us do at this moment. I do know, however, that in its current state, it cannot be used for its intended purpose, for whatever consolation that brings. I simply wish to see what using it can do, so we have a better understanding.
But you wish to rest first.
I would like to do this now and move on. However, many of my capabilities have been drained, and I would be remiss to activate anything that may require more of our strength and find ourselves without the means to cope.
Indigo?
Yeah, I think I think we killed everyone who was coming after us, so maybe we can just rest on this for a bit. Take it on fresh in the morning.
Yeah. That would be fine with me, if that's what you would like to do. I'm not convinced it is a good idea to draw out the power, but that is why you are the wizard here, Sefel. I will trust your judgment.
I appreciate that. Let's settle for now.
Okay. So you guys are going to try and settle in for a rest? Short,
Yes.
long?
Long rest.
Long.
Okay.
preferably.
With Embershroud, figure out what our next steps are with him.
Okay. All right. So, you guys are... Where are you settling down within this room for this long rest?
I kind of like under this bridge.
Under the bridge? Okay.
Like, gives a good view of the entryway with still giving some form of cover.
Yeah, but like whoever's keeping watch doing so like next to the obelisk in the high ground.
Yeah.
Okay. Sue will do that. She still has plenty of her spell slots, and she can go a while without resting.
I'll take the second rest since I only need 4 hours.
Okay. So we got the first two. Who wants to take next?
I can take the last.
Take the last? Okay. Okay. All right, so you guys settle in for the long rest. I'm going to go ahead and roll for Sue. All right. Sefel, you are awoken a little while later by Sue. And she goes, it's your turn to take the watch.
Okay. Can I... First, did I retrieve the bag? Did I ever get the bag of holding back? Or are they still holding on to it?
Sue is still holding on to it.
Sue is still holding on to it. Okay.
I mean, you could ask for it back, but you haven't done it yet.
I'll leave it alone for now. I know that she is sort of attached to that egg at the moment, so I don't want to don't want to cause any tension there. So yeah, I will just take my watch then. I will say I'm also going to spend the time over the watch to attune to my cloak of protection as well.
Okay, you do that. Make a perception check.
Yep. 12.
About midway through your watch, you start to hear noises towards the entrance of the cavern. Sounds like the clinking of armor and items. And you start to hear voices. You hear dwarvish coming from the cavern entrance. Do you do anything?
Where is everybody else positioned? Are they
All
fairly secluded, or are we
basically
all out?
underneath the bridge around you?
Okay. I will sort of duck under the bridge myself.
Okay.
And I'll wake Sue back up.
Okay, she kind of stumbles away. What's
And I
wrong?
put a finger.
Oh, right.
And I just beckon towards the entryway and sort of scoot up to the rim of where the bridge ends, so we're sort of peeking out under it and just watching the entrance.
Okay. She immediately, I rolled another perception, she got a natural 20, bringing me
Nice.
up to a 29.
Nice.
She immediately hears and understand what's going on, and you see her she reaches into a pouch and she pulls out a little bit of ashes in a small sprig, and she rubs her hands together and then blows it over the group as she casts Pass Without Trace.
Nice.
So I know there isn't a passive stealth. I wish there kind of was, but it will give a +10 anyways. And as the two of you kind of creep forward and look towards the entrance, you see a group of 4 dwargar up here. One of them in the front has this larger, more jagged looking beard, and all about him you see vials filled with liquid. He has this large apron on, and the others are wearing a mixture of half plate and chainmail and are decently well armed. But they come in, and you hear one of them call out in Dwarvish. You don't understand it, but you hear him saying something. There's a pause. And he calls again, and Sue kind of whispers to you. She goes, I wonder if he's looking for the Darrow.
Don't you understand them?
Well, I'm a little far away at the moment. That 20 was just to make sure that they were there, but she can roll again. Okay. He calls out a third time. She goes, oh, that's exactly what he's doing. He's calling to Plinky. And as you guys are observing, you see the one with all the vials kind of snap his fingers and point to the 3 other dwargar, and they start approaching out into the room. They have crossbows at the ready. And they seem to be just kind of patrolling out into the area. While this one guy right here is kind of slowly following up.
Between Atenaze and myself, was there anything left of Plinky?
Not much. Mostly just a pile of goo.
Cool.
Yeah. But there's still a spectator body.
Yep.
And you see where this one particularly interesting dwargar is he's now looking right at Atenaze's obelisk. And he's staring at it, and he Sue kind of whispers over to you. She says, he's saying that someone's definitely been through here, and to be on the ready and the lookout for essentially us, trespassers, really. And you see all three of those Dwergar reach into their bags and pull out a vial of something, and they seem to be pouring it on the bolts of their crossbows. And they are spreading further out into the room. And I'm going to need everybody to roll a stealth check here. For those that are still asleep, it's at disadvantage.
I was like, how does being asleep affect my stealth? I am prone, which is good, but I am snoring, which is bad.
Mm-hmm.
With the plus 10, that is a 27.
Okay.
With
That's
the plus
24.
24. What'd you get there, Indigo?
Cool. With the plus 10, I have a 15.
Wow.
Okay, so you got a 19, and Stool got a 13.
Okay.
I need one more for the Dwergar. Okay. As the Dwergar are roaming this first kind of level of this larger mesa, as this one comes around the corner, you hear some yelling, and Sue goes, after a pause, she's like, "Oh, they've discovered the spectator." And you see that one kind of run back around the corner and start talking to the guy with all the vials and stuff. And they're starting to be hushed. And then simultaneously, the three regularly kind of militaried up Dwergar, sorry, I'm trying to get the name down. They disappear. They go invisible. And Sue goes,
no.
"Oh, fuck. This is not good, Sifel. We're gonna need to do something quick."
Sifel. Do you still have the ability to cloak yourself?
She has used her natural ability to go invisible, and she has no more second level spells. So she just looks at you and she goes, "No, I can't go back invisible. And she's like searching through her barrel pack. She's like, I've got no potions that can help me either.
I can cloak two of us. Myself and one other person. But it is all I have.
I think either we're gonna have to wake the others and go charging in there, or we're gonna have to make a break for the exit, or hope to God that obelisk up there has something to get us the fuck out of here. What do you think?
I think you shouldn't have mentioned an obelisk with conjuration magic coursing through it.
What, me personally? I don't know any of that shit. What are you talking about?
But I do. I will
Okay.
I will walk up to Indigo, and I will shake him, and I will immediately put a hand over his mouth when he wakes up.
Oh.
Dwergar in the cave. Make your way to the obelisk, and I will touch him, and I will cast invisibility on myself and Indigo, burning my last third level slot. I will walk back up to Sue, put my hand on her shoulder. Indigo and myself are cloaked. Wake Scylla. Get Stool. Do whatever you can to help them and make your way up to the obelisk.
All right. So you and Indigo start booking it to the obelisk, invisible.
Would you say... So obviously we didn't get a full long rest in. Would you say that we at least got a short?
I'll say you got a short rest, for sure. Definitely not a long rest.
Okay. If that is the case...
Wait a second. So
I'm
I thought
going
you
to
only
use my-
need like 4. I thought you only needed 4 hours for a long rest.
I do, but I don't know how long we actually got to rest. We only technically got through one rest cycle, so it fully depends how long Sue's
Considering you guys break it up into 3 hours for like an 8-hour rest, I would say it's not a full long rest for you, Sifel.
Yeah, so if it's just the short rest, I'm going to expend my arcane recovery for the day.
Okay.
I'm going to give myself a 3rd level slot back.
Okay. All right. I'm going to have Sue, Stool, and Scylla as a group roll for initiative. I'm going to have you and Indigo roll as a group for initiative. And I'm going to have the Dwergar roll as a group for initiative. And we're going to make this in bullet time, especially because things are invisible and there's a lot of pieces moving. If that's cool with you guys.
How do you want that initiative to work?
Indigo and you guys, whoever has the higher initiative bonus, I would say you roll. All right, so Stool, Sue, and Scylla, you guys want to start making your way to the obelisk, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys can all move your movements. I think everybody has 30 for this group. Sue is going to attempt a athletics check to climb up.
Same.
You do still have pass without a trace on. I'm like rolling that stuff over. She makes it up. She gets to here. Stool is going to attempt. Stool makes it as well. Scylla, did you climb up as well?
Yeah, 22.
22. Okay, you definitely make it. And with movement, you guys are there. Okay. Indigo and Sifel. Sifel, it looked like you've already moved up to the mesa.
I did. Because if I dashed, I can get all the way up.
Okay. Indigo, how are you getting up there?
I will make my way around the various staircases and then across the bridge. So I'm not going to try to scale anything. I'm going to take my time.
Okay. Next up are a crossbow bolt flies out of nowhere, almost point blank range at Indigo.
Oof.
And that is... you're probably going to be all right. Oh, sorry. It's not a crossbow. It's a javelin. It's probably not going to hit you. A 13?
A 13 does not hit.
Okay. As a Dwargar appears right next to you. And he starts crying out in Dwarvish. And we are going back to the initiative with Stool, Sue, and Scylla. I don't imagine Sifel told Sue that by essentially pushing her magical abilities into the obelisk, it could activate it. I imagine that was something you kind of just like figured out and you're like, okay, I got it.
Yeah, he didn't pass. He spoke about it with Indigo, but Sue and Scylla were off during that part of the conversation, so I don't think that got passed along.
Okay. Jumping next, it is Indigo and Sifel's turn. What do you guys do?
Okay. Sifel is going to put his hands onto the obelisk, and he is going to start small. Let's push a first level spell slot into it.
Okay. You push a spell slot, or like this arcane energy through yourself, reaching into the weave, into the obelisk, and you just feel like this pulse go out, very similar to what you felt before. And you must have assumed that somehow the obelisk was used, and that's what caught that ripple through the Ferez before. And you feel your mind and your vision twist, and then all 5 of you find yourselves sitting in a dark tunnel. There's no light. There's no whirling Ferez you can all hear normally. It doesn't sound like you're underwater. And it is silent, but for the occasional drip of moisture that falls from the tunnel entrance. And Sifel, you feel like a lingering magic upon you in the group as you realize you've just been teleported somewhere. You don't know where, but it only takes a moment before Sue, like, who immediately starts running down a direction, and she comes back and she goes, I think we're in a tunnel outside of Gracklestug. We're outside the city. I think this particular way leads back to one of the main entrances.
Well, that works shockingly well, then.
The Dwargar didn't come with us, right?
No. Surprisingly.
Well, let's proceed back, then.
So we should just head on back in then? And just... Do you have any idea who those guys were?
No, I don't. I've not seen him before. There's quite a few of us around.
They were looking for Plinky, though. When I ate Plinky's brain,
Yes.
in the memories and knowledge of Plinky, was there anything about these Dwergar?
You remember their faces, and you remember a sense of association there, but she viewed them as kind of like pawns. But that's it. Oh, however, the one that carried a bunch of vials and such, that one was an alchemist named Lortheo, who was interesting in his abilities to manufacture different types of chemical agents that they might use in the takeover of the city. And that he also worked as a means of gaining coin for the Grey Ghosts. But that's it.
I will relay all of that to the group. We should return to the city and to Thembershoud quickly.
What if... Sifel, and we can like start walking as we go. Sifel, what if when we get there, we're gonna run into the Keepers of the Flame before we get to Thembershoud? What if we like send them after the Grey Ghosts? Like
Pit the factions against each other.
You tell them some of what we know, and then we have to go just tell Thembershoud, and then we go in there and we actually, hey buddy, let me tell you the real dirt.
Well, what are you hoping the Keepers of the Flame will do? There's already a sort of cold war between the two factions already. Hence why we were sent to spy / apprehend this egg for them. Do you think they could be persuaded into physical action?
Maybe. I mean, they're planning on killing a dragon, so they can't be total pushovers, right?
No. I suppose we could try, or... If possible, I think we should lean towards speaking with the Wormsmith first. Which would not be totally unreasonable, as he did specifically request that any information come to him before the Keepers of the Flame.
True. And hey, also, if you want to go down that road, you give me 8 hours at the Bullet's Lair, I can let them know from there.
It's true as well. Yes, we do still need to rest.
Oh yeah, I feel I feel bad. I feel not great.
We need to find a place where...
I'm also hungry. You guys hungry?
I don't particularly feel that phenomenon unless there's magic involved, but...
Yeah, it's true. Between the 5 of us here, I was
definitely gonna eat one of those corpses after you guys fell asleep. But then
That's
I fell
not
asleep,
a
and then
secret.
like, my watch didn't come around, and so like, yeah.
That it's not surprising, I guess, but again, we'll work on it.
No, thank you.
Your
Thank you for-
honesty is admirable.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
you guys are so supportive. It's so nice.
Let's retreat to the Bullet's lair for the night. Hole up there somewhere relatively safe and finish the rest that we need. Then we will go talk to Thembershout.
All right. After a little while, you guys do come upon the tunnel that you start traveling through becomes more carved and decorated, more angular, and eventually you come upon a set of double stone doors, to which to the left of there's like a sliding bar, and you see the face of a gray dwarf appear. And after a little bit of banter and like the flashing of the Keepers of the Flame badge of Thembershout's buds, they eventually let you through, and you guys find yourselves back in the Dark Lake district of Gracklestug. As I move you back onto the map, you see over on the western side, you guys have just come through this gate, and you're now over by the Overlake Hold and the Dark Lake Brewery, and you're pretty close to the Bullet's lair. So you guys make your way back there. You end up finding your lodgings again. They're all looking at you kind of odd because you have this giant ass myconoid with you, but not the weirdest thing they've ever seen. So they're like, okay, cool. As long as he doesn't, infect anyone, we're cool. And you guys all settle in, and you manage to take a long rest.
All right.
And so you all awaken. What do we want to do? Because there was talk of the sending spell, but it sounds like you guys want to go in person to Thembershout.
Let's go talk to the Wormsmith.
All right, you guys get up, you fresh, you eat, you get something in the Goldborn's lair, and you make your way back to Thembershout's cavern. And as you reach that said area, a familiar face appears, a Dwergar that you know as Gratokar, the leader of the Keepers of the Flame. And they come out, they're wearing their white and red robes, their fingers are crossed. And I think this was at the time where I just like couldn't get my friggin' voices together. And I think it was changing like every 5 seconds, but he comes out and I'm not going to attempt a voice for him right now, but he's like, so you've returned. What news do you bring us?
We have important information to relay, but the agreement that we were bound to did require us to speak to the Wormsmith before passing on information to anybody else. I promise you.
Come now, anything you can share with Thembershout, the great Wormsmith, I'm sure you can share with us as his subordinates and tenders to his flame.
And I swear to you, Gartukar, the best spoils will be saved for you, but you know as well as I that keeping face is important in relationships such as these. So once our relationship is satisfied, you will have the information that you need. I would like to cast Charm Person on him.
Oh shit. Shit. Oh, okay. Okay, go for it.
Okay, he has to make a wisdom save, please.
All right. 11.
DC 17.
Yep. Okay, he is
Wow.
charmed. He goes, I am so sorry, Sefel. If I could ask, though, have you taken care of the Grey Ghost problem?
It has been scouted out and dealt with to the best of our current capabilities. You can be sure of that.
Wonderful. This gladdens me greatly. Of course, we shall not keep you from Femmershout. And he gives this like deep, deep bow and goes, and as you guys start walking by, he goes, I do look forward to hearing more of your report later.
Of course, we will speak later. And
Absolutely.
Charm
Wow.
Person, just for your tracking, lasts an hour.
Yep. No, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Man, that guy was really
He
friendly
was
this
quite
time.
nice.
Wow, I like
Yes. I do not feel as though we meet many friendly people like that.
him.
Stool's
I'm
like,
not used
his
to it.
brain feels weird. His brain feels weird. Sorry, voice change. Okay, you guys start making your way in, and as you do, you feel that overly oppressive heat. Oh, you know what? I totally forgot to have you guys do something. Those
Oh,
of you
man.
that are immune or resistant to diseases are fine. Everybody else is not. We gotta roll for that good old crackle lung. So
What if I sleep in a tub?
no. Too late. Too
So-
late.
So I have advantage against diseases. Does that?
Okay,
is
so you
that
have
what you're-
advantage, so you still gotta roll. You're not immune.
Okay.
Sir
where-
William, does my resistance to poison in any way help me here?
Mm, no.
Dang. Worth
Sorry,
a try.
yeah.
Worth a try.
That was good. That was a good get, though. That was a good get.
Ooh,
You almost got him.
the advantage
Almost had me.
certainly
Okay.
helped.
Sue is fine. Stool is unaffected by that shit. Okay, so what's everybody got here?
22.
You're fine.
18.
You're fine.
Also 18.
You're fine.
Suck
Okay,
it.
I'll
Suck
get
it, under cleric. Suck it.
You know,
Won't get
when
any
you
more gold from
earlier,
me,
I was like,
boy.
I don't remember if I wrote his name down.
I
Like,
don't
oh,
think
shoot.
we got one.
Yeah, he's just
I don't
the
think,
undercleric.
I don't,
He's
I don't
also
think we
skeevy.
have. We're
He's
not very
skeevy.
polite.
No, Indigo was too busy shitting all over his beliefs.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. All right. So you enter into this super hot cavern, and eventually you come upon the great wormsmith Fembershout sitting upon his massive pile of gold.
Welcome back, my servants. Where have you been?
Oh, hey.
We were traveling in the Whirlstone tunnels. There were unforeseen barriers. You will notice there are 2 missing from our last meeting and 2 new companions.
I see this. Can they be trusted?
And his
100.
long, thick, fat neck extends forward, and his face hovers above Sue and Scylla. Black smoke from his mouth just like pours over all of you guys as he slowly retreats his neck.
Scylla and Sue just see the future of their child.
Yeah, you both have like proud mama smirks. And you're like, fuck it, let's go be a baby.
You both will be long dead and gone before your baby gets this big.
It's true though. That is true. Anyways, he asks you if they can be trusted.
They have proven themselves very trustworthy and capable. We would not have returned with the level of success we have without their assistance.
Now, do you come bearing any information for me?
Before we divulge this, it would be wise to be sure your other servants are not listening into the conversation.
Oh, they would not dare impose upon my meetings. Come closer.
He beckons like the group of you forward with one of his huge claws.
I do not believe that as much as you do, but let's discuss. And I approach him.
Silinar just forward, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Walking
So
that
you
way.
all move forward. And as you all get basically underneath him, so he's looking down on you, he goes,
I shall ease your minds.
and he extends his neck over you, and you just hear this like suck of air, and then you see this glow expand in his chest and up through his throat, and just as he breathes this huge curtain of flame up and through the cavern beyond. And he holds it probably for a solid 15 seconds before he snaps his maw shut. Smoke trendles coming out of it, and he looks down, curling his big neck.
Does this ease your weary little minds?
Svel reaches up and pinches out the corner of his pillowcase. Very much so. Thank you, Wormsmith.
He settles back onto his haunches a little more.
We have, as I mentioned, been traveling through the Whirlstone tunnels at the behest of Gartukar. He tasked us with searching out the grey ghosts within the tunnels to see what they may be planning, acting on. We found through some unforeseen means that the reason that your keepers are so hostile to the Grey Ghosts and tense recently is because the keepers had a plan that the Grey Ghosts foiled. A plan to remove you from your seat.
What? And he lunges forward and snaps his neck right in front of your face.
What is the meaning of this?
The keepers were searching for an item they did not have, but believed the Grey Ghosts to have. An egg of one of your kind.
He draws back, standing up and broad and wide. And he's still staring at you if you have more to add.
The keepers intended, if the ghosts had this object, to procure it, hatch it for their own, and use its offspring to usurp you. They believe you have grown fat, weak. You have outstayed your welcome. And they are on edge because without this replacement, they cannot enact this plan.
You don't get to say anything further as he lifts his head up, pointed straight to the ceiling, and unleashes another burst of flame, and you just see it crawl across the ceiling and goes,
Filthy worms, greedy, nasty. Think I've grown fat, have they? I will show them the true meaning of power.
and he just starts rampaging forward, doesn't even mind the lot of you. I need you all to make dexterity saving throws.
Oh, no. Oh, jeez.
Stool and Sue barely managed to make it.
19.
You're good.
19 as well.
You're good.
How do we feel about a 9?
Oh, jeez.
Not great, but you do have an awesome feat.
Yes. Shield Master?
Mm-hmm.
So if an effect allows half damage on a success, you can use your reaction to take no damage?
Do you want to
Am I
use your
an idiot?
reaction? Otherwise, you're taking damage.
She didn't succeed.
Yeah, I would love to, but I did not. Yeah, I don't know
Oh,
if I'm
you
reading
didn't
it
succeed?
right.
Oh, I thought that
Yeah, you have
acted
to
on a fail.
succeed.
My bad.
No, it's
Yeah.
basically evasion with shields. Half
Gotcha.
damage becomes no damage if you succeed.
Okay. So all of you managed to dive out of the way. Sue, you were kind of Scylla, you were kind of towards the back, and you just get like swept up by one of his claws, and you're thrown into one of the cavern walls. You're gonna take. Where is it? You take 8 points of bludgeoning damage as you are thrown backwards, and he just starts ripping through his cavern super fast. He tucks his wings in, and you just hear him screaming,
Gratogar, filthy keepers of the flame, you will understand the true dire heat. You think you can dispose of me?
and you just hear the exhalation of more flames, and then you hear screams and cries as mayhem begins. What do you do?
I don't know that was like a lawful good action that we took. I would say maybe chaotic neutral.
I feel good about it. We saved a life today.
Which life did we save?
The
Indigo?
dragons.
As the
dragons,
screams continue.
We saved
Have you heard
saved
of-
ours.
Have you heard of the caravan problem? If there are 5 people on one road, but you have the opportunity to derail the caravan to only hit one person.
But what if that one
Just
person's
picture in the
really
background,
awesome?
you see the occasional blogger body just like fly out through the entrance, and just like a husk, a crispy
Actually,
husk, as you guys are talking about this.
It's interesting that you bring up the railcart paradox, Scylla, because the actual solution to that is that all people are capable of terrible things, and so if you have the chance to take out any, you should maximize gains. So what you do is you move the single individual onto the track with the other 5, and you run them all over at once.
Just carnage continues on.
Well, I think the safest place to be is actually right here.
Nope, this is fine. Let us remain here. He is going to take out whatever anger he needs to, and if anything, we have ingratiated ourselves. So I think the best thing that we do is sit tight, and as soon as he walks back in, all of you, if you don't know how to bow, figure it out.
Okay. Can everybody tell me their passive perceptions once again?
10.
10. That's right. You have like the shittiest one.
11.
11. Okay.
Peasants. 17.
Okay. 17, Sue's 19, Stool doesn't, I think Stool's is like a 13. As you all are kind of waiting there and this carnage continues in the distance, eventually you hear Theber shout, bellow out, and like you can hear it throughout the cavern, and it seems like it's a call to the greater population as it goes,
Deep King, show your face.
Oh no.
Your schemy keepers of the flame meant to destroy me. I will see you or bathe this city in ash. Your fortress will be nothing but molten metal. Your people crisps. I demand you kneel.
Indigo, out of the corner of your eye, you see some weird movement towards the back of the cavern. And you hear what sounds like the blink, 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 blink of like coins shifting. And as you look over, you see Sue looks in the same direction as you look up and you see what looks like a large, fuzzy ass with a tail sticking out of a hole as two feline-like legs start like kicking their way, and eventually like coins are falling out from the sagging pocket that is still in view, and then finally the butt's gone.
What?
As you realize a thief has just stolen from Thembershoud. There's a few moments of silence before a large explosion fills our ears. Thembershoud's head quickly snaps to the lower ledges beneath the stalagmite castle of the king. There, we can see cannons being fired towards the Wormsmith. We hear the high-pitched whine as the ordnance flies ever closer. Thembershoud, defying his larger size, quickly turns and dashes back into the cavern, landing before you all in a huff, dust kicking up off the ground. The explosions continue to sound outside. Small flakes of stone fall to the cavern floor, and he turns to you all.
Typical of these sniveling dwarves. Did they not think I would know of their arsenal? Look to me, servants. There is not much time. I'm confident my powers to topple these puny fleshlings. I sense them all about me, watching.
As he says this, we see his rear left leg rise and come down with a hard crunch. He drags it across the ground, and we hear the screeching of metal on stone. He then thrusts his leg outwards, and from its clutches we see the crushed form of a dwarger.
They think I do not sense them. What matters is you all stay clear. If I am taken, you must find the egg, as its unknown whereabouts are the only thing that keep me alive. So long as it stays away from the king, they cannot truly be rid of me.
He pauses. The echoes of the cannons have stopped. His long, thick neck turns towards the entrance.
Curious. Watch from the safety of the shadows. I will call for you when I have dispatched this king.
He plods forth to the cavern opening before ducking his head and moving out into the dusky lights of Gracklestug. His gaze, and ours, moves towards the castle's rampart. We see a figure emerge from a large opening and approach the walls. They stand tall, shoulders back, a confident and easy stride. They are decorated with strong, thick plates of dwarven armor. Gilded upon the black surface are horrific and debaucherous scenes. The dwarves about them all bow their head and step back, but for a few more decorated gray dwarves who stand at the rampart edges. We finally see their face. Long black hair, pale skin, once decorated with a few scars that now find no place in their beautiful and haunting visage. Eyes of a dark golden hue. Laura stands tall, surveying the scene below.
Wormsmith, the Deep King hears your cries and apologizes that they cannot attend your needs at this moment. However, the threats you have made are not idle and must be addressed. The king knows of no such egg which you speak of. He is, however, willing to investigate on your behalf about these rumors. He would not have his greatest ally turn against him. You mean so much to him and the people of Gracklestug. He would never have such a thing happen to you as you claim. If you are willing to parley, he would entreat you enter his palace and have words with him. If not, then he cannot suffer the destruction you might bring about. What say you, Wormsmith?
Lies. Your elegant words have no purchase in my mind. I feel them laced with magics. Pathetic. Even your attempts to appease me are further proof of your treachery. You will find yourself begging for mercy before long. You think you know all that I may do. You think I do not know what it is you feed me. You try to hinder me. My falls, my flames shall hollow your armor. My teeth will pry your brains from skulls. My claws like anvils you beat upon. Prepare yourself, scum.
With that, Thembershoud lowers his neck and unleashes a bout of flame and quickly whips himself in a circle, his tail colliding with invisible soldiers that have encircled him within the last few moments. As they land on their backs, they are met with his flames, their cries echoing out into the city. Lara quickly turns to the cannoneers to her left. She points down towards Thembershoud.
Aim to the left with your shot.
She turns to the right.
You to his right.
She looks down below to the lower levels.
Half of you load with heavy netting, the rest tin mask globes.
She pulls herself back upright.
This dragon shall not last a minute.
Behind her, we see a few of the dwarven officers mumbling. We hear one say under his breath to the others, "This witch will find themselves roasted before long. Stupid woman. Thinks she can walk in here and endear herself to the king and become commander to us all? You watch. She'll fail within her first moment." We flash back down to Thembershoud making progress through the streets. Explosions into the ground about him begin to erupt as he continues to bite, claw, and burn their way towards the castle. Netting begins to fall upon them, preventing him from taking flight. More soldiers swarm in. We see their lances burn and burst with white-hot heat as they prick at his heels. With a cry from above, they fall back quickly as glass canisters break about the Wormsmith. Gas hisses into the air. Thembershoud roars and shakes their head as the gas envelops them. Draconic howls into the air along with more struggling. Netting continues to rain down until all grows silent. As the gas clears, we see a moaning and entangled Thembershoud. Soldiers slowly move in, tying the netting together while great chains are brought forward along with the carts.
Bring him in.
She begins to walk back to the castle entrance, and she stops beside the officers, looking down on the one that mocked her.
Fail, did I?
She grabs him by the gorget and drags him to the wall, and quicker than any of the others can react, tosses him over the edge. She looks back to all the dwarves staring at her.
Need any more be said for those who do not take my word for law? Good.
She marches back into the castle beyond. A few moments later, we see a stern figure with this black and red and gold robe, a thick metal walking stick before them, a long white split mustache, and a long braided white beard. Their shaggy brows underneath a high pointed mithril crown. Rising from their back are two angular points, framing their face, looking like a trident spearing upwards to the sky. "Hear your king. Whomsoever told the Wormsmith of this shall be greatly punished. Anyone who brings me word about these traitors shall be rewarded handsomely
50,000 gold to whomever brings me them alive. 25,000 if they're dead. And whomsoever brings me the egg, which finds itself now to be missing, shall find themselves a new laird, and themselves 100,000 gold richer. You have one day before the searches begin.
He turns, and we hear the clacking of his walking stick upon the stone and metal. And we see Themberchild, his large form now loaded upon numerous carts and being dragged through the streets to the base of the castle. And that's where we're going to leave it tonight.
Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you again. You're one of our favorite listeners. You made it to the post show notes. Thank you so much for your support. Yes, new outro means new news. We started a Discord server. Yes, we wanted to create a space for our listeners to meet fellow fans of the show. It's a new community, so hop on in, say hi, we'll be there. You can find it by going to our Twitter page, and it's linked up at the top there. Our linktree/the madness table has all of our links to all of our stuff. Speaking of which, if you haven't, please follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We try to, post some memes and other exciting stuff, especially on Twitter, so we would love the support there. We're also going to be launching a bonus action segment soon where we talk about the behind the scenes for the different chapters of our story. So please keep an eye out for those. And if you want to submit any questions for a future bonus action segment, please email us at themadnesstable@gmail.com. Lastly, please leave a review if you haven't. All the reviews do is they help us grow. It's a quick, easy, and free way to show your support. And we always appreciate that. So again, thank you so much for listening. We hope you're happy and healthy. We'll see you next week. When